It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
But I do say that space can be explored and mastered. For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon, and to the planets beyond.
What do we really know about space and the planets that linger in our very solar system? Or more importantly, what do you as a person know? We've all looked up at night, seen the stars shining ever so brightly down at us, and we have all imagined what it would be actually like to be amongst them. How close can we actually get to each of our planets to take in the full beauty and magnitude which surround them? This is episode 1 of a 5-part series which will take you beyond space itself as we journey to the depths of our universe. In this episode, we'll be taking a journey only 60 miles up, just an hour's drive from home, to explore our very solar system and to give you a better understanding of each of our beautiful planets in general. To begin this journey, we have to broaden our imaginations and let our minds simply drift on upwards, edging ever so closer to the stratosphere as we feel ourselves gradually getting higher and higher. Now, if you are scared of heights, this might not be a good time to look down. Below us, life continues. The traffic is awful. Stocks keep on trading. And X Factor has taken over our television.
What have we done to the world? Look what we've done.
We have to leave all this behind and dip our toes into the vast black ocean that will soon surround us. As we gradually drift onwards and upwards, try not to panic, keep calm and take deep breaths, but also watch out for the jet plane passing by. After 60 long minutes of us travelling towards space, we have finally made it. We have surpassed the jet planes, went further than the clouds, and finally we mingle amongst the stars. Have a second just to take it all in. This magnificent sight that's right in front of you. With no sound at all, it's like we are in a dream. Our very solar system, which you can see all around you at this very moment, consists of 8 planets that we will be journeying to in this documentary and finding out what exactly makes them so spectacular. The solar system is split into 2 parts. The inner system contains Mercury, Venus, Mars and our very own planet Earth, whilst the outer system contains Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and the planet that we begin our quest, Neptune. This planet is the furthest away from the Sun, and the 4th largest by size. This giant gas planet is made up of vast amounts of various ices and rock, and in mythological terms, Neptune was the god of the sea. As we stare into the hypnotic glaze of blue gases, we can easily witness the dangers of this cold planet as huge storms tear and ravage it apart. And as we don't want to be frozen to death, we need to move swiftly on and venture onto our next planet, which is the planet closest to Neptune, Uranus. As we drift ever so closer to this planet, we can see the same beautiful ocean of blue as we did on the planet Neptune. Uranus is the 7th planet from the Sun, and the 3rd largest by size. However, we don't want to let the swirling colours tease us into submission, as this planet is almost identical to Neptune, as being a huge gas planet consisting of large quantities of rock and ice, and is ravaged every day by terrible storms and winds. So no wonder only one spacecraft has ever visited these 2 planets. We don't want to linger this far out for too long, and we need to move closer to home and onto our next planet, Saturn. As Saturn becomes more visible to us, we see something that we haven't seen on the previous 2 planets. Thousands upon thousands of beautiful gold-like rings that have formed over many years and circulate around this magnificent planet. Saturn is the 6th planet from the Sun and is the 2nd largest of all the planets. This spectacular planet is made up of around 75% hydrogen and 25% helium, and the famous rings that surround it are made up mostly of water and ice. As much as we want to stay here and glare at this unbelievable planet, we need to move on and travel to our next planet, the king of all planets, Jupiter. The great astronomer Galileo first discovered in the early 1600s that Jupiter had 4 moons, and he was the first ever scientist to use a telescope to study outer space. Jupiter is the largest of all the planets and the 5th planet from the Sun. Jupiter is so big that it could fit over 1,000 Earths inside of it. But we notice something strange on one side of this enormous planet. It must be the famous red spot. The Great Red Spot, as it's called, is so big that it could fit 2 Earths inside of it. I guess now we know why Jupiter is the king of all planets. But it's now time to travel to our next planet, getting even closer to the end of our journey, and to another Great Red Spot, this time though in the form of a planet named Mars. Mars is the planet that most intrigues us back on Earth, and is seen to be our next door neighbour. However, this planet doesn't have any amazing features that fascinate us like the previous planets we have been to. Mars is a cold, lifeless, barren wasteland. It is the 4th planet from the Sun, and the 7th largest of all the planets. To this day, we have always wondered if there really is life on Mars, and if this is the planet that we could be calling our home if anything ever happened to Earth. To this day, we will always look to Mars for company, and if you so happen to look up in the right place at night, Mars is clearly visible with the naked eye, no need for telescopes. There are only 2 planets now left to visit, and our journey is nearing its end. We now have to travel even closer to the Sun, to the goddess of love, Venus. A sister to our own planet, she's the same size and gravity of Earth. Venus is the 2nd planet from the Sun, and the 6th largest of all the planets. We could actually be safer here than Mars. Or perhaps not. These beautiful clouds we can see that surround this planet are made from deadly sulfuric acid, and the atmosphere is choking with carbon dioxide. Venus is one angry goddess, and the heat is pushing almost 900 degrees. If we stick around here any longer, we will be corroded, suffocated, crushed, and baked. Nothing can survive here. That's why we need to move on to our final planet, Sharpish. This planet signalling the end of our unbelievable journey. The planet closest to the Sun, Mercury. Get too close to the Sun, and this is what happens. Temperatures swing wildly here. At night it's minus 275 degrees, but come midday it's 800 plus. As we now know, Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, and is the 8th largest in size. Mercury is a huge ball of iron, and from years of torment from the Sun, is both burnt and frozen. But Mercury was once much bigger in size, and to this day nobody knows where the rest of it went. Perhaps a stray planet collided with it, blasting away its outer layers in a deadly game of cosmic pinball. Who knows how long Mercury will be around, but we sure aren't staying around to find out, as it's now time to head home. When our feet finally touch the ground, we will be back in reality, back amongst the everyday things that make life what it is today. But we now know what our solar system consists of. Planets of beauty, planets of nothingness, and right in the middle of all of them is our planet Earth, the Goldilocks of the universe. Be sure to tune into episode 2 where we take you back amongst the stars, this time though, where we take a journey to the very edge of space. But for now, it's so long from me, and so long from whoever lives amongst us up there in the darkness.